Something's brewing behind palace walls, and this time, it's not Harry and Meghan or Andrew's scandals. This time, it's quiet, controlled, calculated. Prince William, the future king, is redrawing the royal map, and he's starting with two of the most innocent royals, Lady Louise Windsor and James, Earl of Wessex. They've never caused drama, never courted the press. Yet now, they're being subtly sidelined. Why? What's the real plan here? And is this the beginning of a royal revolution? Stick around, because the answers might surprise you. Let's not sugarcoat it. Prince William isn't just waiting for the throne. He's already shaping it. Behind the scenes, away from the cameras, the man once known as Wills is pulling off what some insiders are calling a silent royal revolution. And make no mistake, this isn't just him following in his father's footsteps. Since Queen Elizabeth's passing in 2022, the world has had its eyes on King Charles III. But while Charles might be the one wearing the crown, it's William who's quietly laying the bricks for the monarchy of tomorrow. Think of it like a company transition. Charles is the current CEO, but William? He's already the one drafting the 5-year strategy, modernizing the brand, and deciding who's essential and who isn't. And his message? Crystal clear: this monarchy is going on a diet. Gone are the days when the royal balcony looked like a family reunion photo. Dozens of cousins, obscure titles, and working royals whose work no one could define. William doesn't want a sprawling cast of background characters. He wants a small, tight-knit team that can actually deliver on what the crown means in the 21st century. Why the urgency? Because William knows the truth. Public trust in the monarchy is hanging by a thread. Between the fallout from Prince Andrew, the Megxit scandal, Harry's bombshell memoir Spare, and rising voices asking, why are we still funding this? The royal brand is more fragile than ever. William is treating this like a rebrand, not just a fresh coat of paint, a full remodel. And one of the first things to go in that remodel? Excess. He's already started slimming down the family's public appearances. Fewer invites, fewer photo ops, fewer senior royals on the payroll. Events like Trooping the Color or the Platinum Jubilee weren't just celebrations. They were soft announcements about who still counts and who doesn't. Now, here's where things get quietly controversial, because two names that are noticeably absent from this new version of the firm, Lady Louise Windsor and James, Earl of Wessex. These aren't distant cousins or scandal-prone wildcards. These are two of the most well-behaved, low-drama royals in the entire family tree. Kids raised away from the spotlight by Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie. Kids who never caused a stir. But still, they're not on the balcony. They're not in the photos. They're not being mentioned. And in royal language, that silence says everything. Some insiders say William isn't being cruel. He's being strategic. He's building a monarchy fit for modern scrutiny. And in that world, bloodline alone isn't enough. It's about relevance, contribution, public value. And unfortunately, Louise and James, they're not part of the plan. And this quiet omission is bigger than it looks. It's not just about two teens. It's about the philosophy of power. William is signaling a shift from royal by birth to royal by duty. This isn't a monarchy of privilege anymore. It's a monarchy of performance. And that shift, though subtle now, is about to redefine everything we know about what it means to wear the crown, or be born near it. So next time you see a royal family photo and think, where's Louise? Where's James? Now you know. They're not forgotten. They're being written out, quietly, deliberately, and very much on purpose. While most royal kids were learning to smile for the cameras before they could even talk, Lady Louise Windsor and her younger brother James, Earl of Wessex, were learning how to saddle ponies. No flashbulbs, no scandalous headlines, just muddy boots, horseback rides, and the occasional stroll to the local schoolhouse, all tucked away in the rolling countryside of Bagshot Park, Surrey. And that wasn't by accident. This was the royal version of a soft launch, designed by two parents who had seen the brutal side of monarchy up close and personal. Prince Edward, the youngest child of Queen Elizabeth II, and Prince Philip, watched his older siblings go through absolute chaos. He saw his sister Princess Anne's divorce, the very public collapse of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson's marriage, and of course, the catastrophic media storm that surrounded Charles and Diana. Then there's Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, once a PR professional, now one of the most respected yet quietly overlooked members of the royal family. She didn't just read tabloid headlines, she helped people manage them. And after joining the firm, she experienced her own share of tabloid bait, including being caught in a fake shake sting, where she unknowingly gave candid opinions on the royal family to an undercover reporter. That moment was a wake-up call. Sophie knew the media could eat you alive. So when it came to their kids, they made a bold, almost rebellious decision by royal standards. They opted out. Even though Louise and James were entitled to HRH titles and could have been introduced to the world as Princess Louise and Prince James, Edward and Sophie declined, quietly. No fanfare. Because they didn't want their children to grow up as symbols. They wanted them to grow up as people, and for a while, that worked beautifully. While their cousins, George, Charlotte, and Louis, were constantly under public scrutiny, and Archie and Lilibet were becoming lightning rods for the Sussex drama across the Atlantic, Louise and James were ghosts in the royal press, protected, untouched. No awkward interviews, no iPad-leaked tantrums, no sources close to the palace, dragging them through headlines. Just two teenagers with royal blood, normal problems, and country air in their lungs. Lady Louise, in particular, found comfort not in fame, but in family legacy. She inherited her grandfather Prince Philip's love for carriage driving, and she often competes in the Royal Windsor Horse Show, a rare public moment where she shines not as a Windsor, but as a Windsor with talent. She's even been called Philip's spiritual heir, and when the late Queen saw her riding, it said she often smiled with a mix of pride and nostalgia. James, meanwhile, stayed even further out of sight. Rarely photographed, rarely mentioned, he was the royal family's best-kept secret. But here's the twist, and it's a big one. William's plan doesn't include secrets. It includes strategy. As Prince William builds his vision of a slimmed-down, service-oriented monarchy, the very thing that kept Louise and James safe, their quiet, non-royal childhood, has now put them on the wrong side of the line. Because in this new royal structure, it's not just about blood, it's about visibility, relevance, and value to the brand. And if you've spent your life out of the public eye, that makes you expendable. What was once a gift, privacy, peace, anonymity, is now a curse in a palace being reshaped by a future king who sees every title as an asset or a liability. And Louise and James, they didn't choose this. They didn't ask for the throne. They didn't campaign for influence. But somehow, they've become the litmus test for a monarchy in flux. Are they relics of the old system, or the innocent casualties of a modern monarchy trying to stay relevant? It's a royal dilemma, a personal one. And for two teens who were raised outside the storm, they're now being pulled into the center of it, whether they like it or not. There hasn't been a royal decree, no palace announcement, no explosive interview on a primetime sofa. But in the world of royalty, silence isn't absence. It's strategy. Because while the world wasn't looking, Lady Louise Windsor and James, Earl of Wessex, have been quietly erased. No drama, no scandal. Just a steady, calculated pull back into the shadows. Let's take a moment to remember what's not being said, because that's where the real story is hiding. When Queen Elizabeth II died in 2022, the entire monarchy held its breath. The end of her 70-year reign wasn't just the passing of a monarch, it was the closing of an era, one held together by discipline, duty, and carefully managed appearances. And in the somber, haunting march behind the Queen's coffin at Windsor, Louise and James stood tall, poised, silent, regal, even without titles. It was their moment of visibility, their link to legacy. And for many watching, it looked like the first step into a future where they might finally take their place in the royal narrative. But then came the coronation, the dawn of King Charles's reign, a moment decades in the making. And this wasn't just another royal event. This was the event, the literal crowning moment of a new era, a chance to introduce the monarchy's new power players to the world. Yet, Louise and James, they were ghosts, barely photographed, sidelined in seating, not a single glimpse from the palace balcony. In an institution where everything is choreographed, every wave, every smile, every balcony nod, this wasn't an oversight. It was the softest, sharpest kind of exile. And who orchestrated this royal edit? Insiders say the hand behind the curtain belongs to none other than Prince William. While Charles sits on the throne, it's William who's redrawing the map. The real monarchy of the future is already being sketched, and its cast is shrinking. The official roster: William, Catherine, George, Charlotte, and Louis, the heirs in training, and Princess Anne, the family's iron-willed workhorse who's earned her place through sheer consistency. That's it. No Beatrice, no Eugenie, no Edward, no Sophie, and certainly no room for Louise or James. This is a leaner, meaner Windsor lineup. Less Downton Abbey, more Buckingham startup, and yet the press barely noticed. Why? Because they were still too busy binge-watching Harry and Meghan on Netflix, still analyzing every pause in Oprah's special, still obsessing over Prince Harry's tell-all book Spare, where dog bowls and frostbitten royal parts took center stage. Meanwhile, a quiet, calculated royal purge was unfolding. No tantrums, no televised exit, no need to break protocol when you can just stop inviting someone to the table. That's the genius and the cruelty of William's strategy. Because when people like Lady Louise and James are removed from the spotlight, they don't make noise, they don't sue, they don't sell interviews, they don't do reality shows, they simply fade. But here's the real twist. Their vanishing act says more about the monarchy's direction than any drama with Harry and Meghan ever could. Louise and James didn't betray the firm. They didn't marry American actresses. They didn't question the institution publicly. They followed the rules. They stayed quiet. They were loyal. And yet, they've been pushed to the edge. Not because they broke the mold, but because they didn't fit the new one. This isn't the monarchy of Queen Elizabeth. This is William's version. Rebranded, reduced, and ruthlessly refined. And for two teenagers who never asked to be royal stars, their quiet disappearance might just be the loudest message of all. In the new royal family, loyalty alone isn't enough. enough. You have to earn your place. And in this version of The Crown, irrelevance is the new scandal. Here's where the story stops being about titles and starts becoming personal. Because this next part, it hits at the heart of what it means to be a mother in the royal machine. For more than 20 years, Duchess Sophie of Edinburgh has been one of the monarchy's quietest pillars. While the headlines focused on Diana's tragic divorce, Fergie's tabloid disasters, and Meghan's televised exit, Sophie stayed the course. No scandal, no leaks, no drama. She didn't write memoirs, didn't sign deals, didn't do damage control. Instead, she worked diligently, invisibly, lovingly, and perhaps that's why Queen Elizabeth II trusted her more than almost anyone. It's been widely reported that the Queen was incredibly close to Sophie. Unlike some royals who had formal, schedule-driven relationships with Her Majesty, Sophie had keys to Windsor Castle. She'd often be invited for weekend teas and private chats, just the two of them. No press, no titles, no ceremony. Some insiders have even called her the Queen's second daughter. So when Sophie and her husband, Prince Edward, made the rare decision to raise their children outside the royal spotlight, Elizabeth didn't just approve, she supported it. At the time, it was a bold move. Imagine telling the Queen that her grandchildren wouldn't be using their birthright titles, that they wouldn't be growing up under palace protocol, that they'd be going to regular schools and living as commoners in a country estate in Surrey. But the Queen understood, because she too had lived through the implosions of royal parenting. She had seen what the weight of titles did to Charles and Diana's marriage. She had watched Andrew's downfall unfold in slow, horrifying motion. She had endured Harry and Meghan's departure, still raw in the public eye. So when Sophie and Edward said they wanted Lady Louise and James to grow up as normally as possible, the Queen quietly gave her blessing. And for years, it worked. Sophie protected her children from the frenzy of royal life. She raised them to be polite, hardworking, and fiercely private. Louise fell in love with carriage driving, just like her grandfather, Prince Philip. James took after his father, quietly showing up to family events, never seeking attention. But now, the very foundation Sophie built for her children is being shaken, not by scandal, but by strategy. Prince William's new vision for the monarchy, slimmer, sharper, more brand conscious, is quietly pushing Louise and James out of the frame. No balcony appearances, no royal tours, no mention in press briefings. And while Sophie hasn't spoken publicly, those close to the palace say she's deeply concerned. She's not angry, she's not causing scenes, she's not texting Piers Morgan. But behind the scenes, she's making her feelings known in the most royal way possible. A gentle word at a state dinner, a subtle correction in a staff briefing, a quiet reminder during family discussions of what the Queen wanted, because that's what this really comes down to. Legacy. Not just of a family, but of a promise. A promise that Louise and James could grow up free from the pressures that crushed so many before them. A promise made by a grandmother, a monarch, a matriarch. And now, that promise is at risk of being undone. What makes this even more heartbreaking is Sophie never asked for power. She never craved status. She spent 2 decades putting the institution before herself. And now the institution is changing, and it's her children who are being left behind. Think about it. This is a woman who stood silently beside Queen Elizabeth during some of the most difficult moments in recent royal history. She was there after Philip's death. She was there during the Platinum Jubilee. She was there in the church pews while the world debated Harry's every word. And now, she's watching from the sidelines as her own children are quietly being written out. This isn't a rebellion, it's a reckoning. Sophie isn't fighting to get Louise and James titles. She's fighting to keep the promise that they'd never need them. Because in the world of royalty, the absence of privilege doesn't mean the absence of pressure. And Sophie knows, if her children are going to be kept outside the spotlight, they deserve the freedom that comes with it, not the uncertainty. And maybe that's why her story resonates so deeply. Because this isn't just about crowns and castles. This is about a mother watching her family's future being decided by someone else, and knowing she can't stop it, only hope that her quiet voice is still heard, somewhere behind the palace walls. In 2021, Louise turned 18. And with that, she had a choice. She could start using the full royal title she was entitled to, Her Royal Highness Princess Louise of Edinburgh. But she didn't. There was no Instagram announcement, no Vanity Fair interview. She simply kept doing what she'd always done, riding horses, studying English at university, and staying out of the headlines. It was one of the quietest rejections of royal life in recent memory, and it said a lot more than people realized. She didn't reject the family. She rejected the spotlight. And in a world where royal headlines are often scandal-driven, that quiet strength spoke volumes. Now, let's talk about James, Louise's younger brother and the current Earl of Wessex. He's only 16, but some insiders believe he may be quietly preparing to step into a bigger royal role. Why? Because unlike Louise, James has been showing up. He was at the Queen's Platinum Platinum Jubilee, the Commonwealth Games, Easter services, standing tall, calm, collected. And now that his father holds the Duke of Edinburgh title, a name associated with duty and tradition, it's likely the family is grooming James as the next visible Windsor. Some royal watchers think he could be the bridge between the modern, slimmed-down monarchy and the traditional expectations. But the clock is ticking. He'll turn 18 soon, and the question remains, will he step in or quietly step away? Here's what most people forget. Saying no to a royal title doesn't just mean privacy. It means giving up security, income, and a guaranteed place in the royal machine. No carriages, no bodyguards, no guaranteed media platform. Louise and James may never have to worry about rent, but they also don't get the perks that come with full-time royal life. And Prince William, he's made it clear, you're either in or you're out. There's no in-between. Let's zoom out for a second. Prince William is not just reacting, he's orchestrating. After years of public drama, Harry and Meghan stepping away, Prince Andrew's disgrace, and rising scrutiny over taxpayer-funded royal expenses, William wants to clean house. No more loose ends. No more royals cashing in on status without serving. And unfortunately, that includes even the quiet ones. Louise and James aren't the problem, but they represent the old way. The sprawling, oversized royal family that William no longer sees as sustainable. And in his mind, the crown must adapt or crumble. Let's be real. This royal shift isn't happening in a vacuum. Meghan and Harry's departure set off a chain reaction. Suddenly, being born royal didn't mean staying royal. And while Louise and James aren't starting podcasts or Netflix shows, the pressure on young royals has changed. Now they have to choose. Will they become public figures under royal rules or forge their own paths? Titles be damned. Even Princess Beatrice and Eugenie, who were once central figures, are now barely visible. So if they're fading into the background, what hope do Louise and James have? The old royal order is collapsing, and William is holding the hammer. So let's wrap up. Louise, graceful, grounded, and already choosing peace. James, on the brink of a decision that could define his life. And William, quietly reshaping the monarchy before our very eyes. This isn't the flashy royal drama you'll find on magazine covers. It's deeper, it's strategic, and it's happening right now. So we want to hear from you. Should Louise and James stay out of the spotlight? Is William doing the right thing by shrinking the monarchy? Or is this silent purge cutting out the heart of the family? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it. And if you loved this deep dive into the crown's biggest unspoken drama, tap that like button. Subscribe for more royal truths. Share this video with someone who still thinks the monarchy hasn't changed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.